Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of Building Calopolis on the Vital Chief TikTok account, and I'll also be posting this on YouTube. All right, so as you can see in the background, we've got a completed Amsterdam storefront with the waterfront that I kind of wanted to do, coming off of the cliff with the waterfall kind of continuing down the river. But in the background, you can see this new Gothic church that I built. I kind of built that while on the Switch, so I didn't record any gameplay, but we're going to come on over here and I'll show you close up. It's a pretty decently sized Gothic church build that I wanted to do with a European architecture kind of inspiration here. And we have a water canal that I finally built right here. Originally, I did have gameplay of me building out this water canal because it was a lot of terraforming, but I needed to shorten up this video. So yeah, we've got a perfect, like almost perfectly centered. It's actually off-centered by one block with the water canal to the Amsterdam front, and then heading on in, I also put a lit up church across with frog lights on top of it. I thought I'd give it a good look. On the inside, I used terracotta flooring for the first time and a red carpet to kind of give it this grand cathedral look. And now we're going to work on placing the cross on the inside where there's going to be a podium for where like a priest would speak. Skipping on over, we're also filling in the windows with just tinted glass. This in particular just got updated with the Prisma Visual Pack, so the texture itself does not have as many lines as it actually looks really clean now. So yeah, we're going to fill in all of these. Just to give a quick update on building Calopolis. So this is mainly going to consist of me building out the Amsterdam portion of the map for the city, and then we're going to slide on over into the terraforming portion of where we're going to be building out the lake behind the castle. That's going to give us more of a waterfront vibe as well. When we get to that point, you're going to see that there's an extreme amount of terraforming that's got to take place. We've got typography hills that are about a Y coordinate of 120, and we're trying to get it down to 90. So it's about a 30 block reduction in the Y coordinate that we need to flatten out, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. So all right, so continuing forward, we got a little night view of what the church is going to look like on the inside. I've got the lamps, or the lanterns, I should say, set up underneath the windows. And I think it's got a good ambiance at night. I may add some ceiling light, but I think it actually looks pretty cool that it just kind of turns into this dark abyss at night when you can't see the ceiling. Now we're going to work on the cross over here with the podium. Now that I've completed the windows, and as you're going to see from this gameplay, the cross took me a little bit of work because I couldn't figure out the size that I wanted to do for it to have like this grand appeal to it, as well as looking proportionate to like what an actual cross looks like and not just like this T. So yeah, I decided to go with oak wood. I think that the light wood, once it's stripped off of the coloring, looks like what you'd probably see the color of like a cross would look like compared to like a darker wood. So I think it looked the best. I had this idea that I want to put a beacon in between the cross and the podium, so you have this beam of light shooting out from the cross, and then that way it's also like this radiant effect that you get from stepping into the church. Not sure if I'm going to go forward with that or not, but if I do, I'll implement it. It'll just go right underneath the flooring here. And for anyone that doesn't know, the entire hill that this church is sitting on top of is man-made. I built the entire thing. It's hollowed out. So if you actually go inside of the hill, it's all hollowed out. You see a bunch of trees and mobs spawning in there. But it was easier to build it out than kind of finding a different location that already had a hill, in my opinion, because I kind of got to design it how I wanted and still gave it that waterfall effect from it. So yeah, as you can see, we are working on how this cross is going to end up looking. And this was the first sizing that I went with it. It ended up being too small. Once I put down the rest of the podium, it wasn't big enough. Anyways, so building the podium, I decided to just go with I'm actually forgetting the term of the block here. What is it? The lectern? Yeah, a lectern, and then two of the bookcases next to it. And I actually wanted to have candles on top of the bookcases, but I actually don't have the materials to craft any candles on hand. So I'm just using end rods for right now, but I still think it looks okay. it was this viewpoint right here that I realized, okay, the cross is not big enough. We got to make it a little bit taller. So yeah, we're going to go in and fix that. As you see, this is the final look. So in the daytime, this is the church, and I think the sunlight peeks through the windows really nicely with the cross and the size I went with. Okay, heading on out of the church, as you can see, we have this nice viewpoint of Amsterdam, but at the very top of the church, I still have to finish the roofing. So we used stone bricks for the roofing, and I am not the best at figuring out the placement of the blocks here without getting lost and putting it in the wrong place. But it, I kind of had an idea of how to finish it, but it's why I saved it for the end, because it was like my least favorite part of the build, and I didn't want to keep leaving scaffolding everywhere while I was building it out. But overall, I think this church came out really, really nice. I think it has this nice presence to it, because it's on such a high hill compared to the rest of the Amsterdam that we're building out alongside the castle right here. It really gives to that city effect, like there's a skyscraper in the distance, or it looks like a clock tower in my opinion from far, far away, until obviously you see the cross and it's pretty evident what it is. But yeah, so the other thing, as you can see, is I could put a bell in this tall part of the church right here, because that's typically what churches would have. My only thing is it would just be for looks and not functionality, unless I incorporate a redstone, I guess, to some degree. I don't know if I'm going to put a bell, but all right. So as you can see, behind the church is like the only thing for the terraforming portion of this that I haven't done aesthetically. Obviously, I had to carve out into this mountain here to have the space to build out the church, so it's not very aesthetic back here, but you can't see it at all. But the platform that the church is sitting upon right here, obviously I need to kind of build out more behind it so it's more even. But overall, like, at least from what you can see for 80% of the build, it looks good. And yeah, the staircasing too, so you have a left and a right staircase, and I'm gonna add some of the mountain going underneath the staircases, because right now those are empty, so it has a better mountain effect. Okay, here you're going to see me build out the bridges that I want to have for the canals that are really going to embody like an Amsterdam look. For those of you who have not looked at too many photos or been to Amsterdam, Amsterdam has water canals that run all throughout the city, big enough water canals where you can have boat and boat houses. And then they have these arched bridges that go across them where the boats go right underneath, and the pedestrians are able to walk across the water canals. All right, so while I build out these, I just want to talk about kind of my visions for the rest of this portion of Calopolis, because I think as I explained in the first video, there's two portions of the city, and they're divided by these snowy mountains that I've built the pathing out for. And this portion, I think honestly, I kind of want to incorporate water canals all throughout. Now that I'm thinking about it, I still want to have a main town square and a town hall and all of that that's going to not have water kind of running throughout it. But I think I want the other portion of Calopolis that's on the other side of the snowy mountains, going towards the left of where you're looking at right here, to kind of embody like a countryside, but like with I guess not a countryside. I guess I should say it'll be more of the fantasy elements of a city and town I want to go for. So this is more modern, the other one's going to be more fantasy, and that way I kind of get the aesthetics for both types of cities that I want without kind of diminishing the other one. And I think the other one has such a beautiful opening with the vista there and the landscape, that I want to have like fields of like wheat and stuff. So it's, from a distance, it's probably like the most aesthetic within nature. And then over here is more aesthetic with the architecture, if that makes any sense. As you can see with these water canals, I was figuring out with the bridges over the water canals, I was figuring out the dimensions of them and how I want to do the height. And in this video, you're actually not going to see the finished product, but I have a previous post on this TikTok account that does show the completed product without me putting the arches underneath the bridges. I think I'm going to do that later. But yeah, these actually, and the one design element here that I was kind of debating on was whether or not I wanted to use different stone so the bridges kind of stood out more, or just use the same materials. I went with the same materials, and I know some people will say that I should use different materials asymmetrically throughout the build so it looks more like worn and like has a gradient, but I like my clean look. Okay, so over here, we're jumping over to the portion of the map where I'm doing a crap ton of terraforming. And when I say terraforming, I mean a crap ton of terraforming. All of this, as you can see, is we're at Y level 130, 129. All of this right here is getting flattened to Y90. Again, the inspiration here is that I want to have a giant lake behind the castle, somewhat like Harry Potter and Hogwarts, except they're on an ocean, not a lake. And then we can have like our own port back here with boats and stuff. But it's also going to serve as a giant lake for waterfront properties for the rest of Calopolis, where we're going to build out where Amsterdam goes, coming all the way over here. So the waterfront's going to sort of operate like a marina, if that makes any sense. But yeah, we have a crap ton of TNT, and we're just terraforming a lot. I kind of want to terraform as much as I can with the TNT, and then I'll go through with the other builders and just pickaxe it one block at a time, because you can only TNT so much until things are so sporadically blown up that you can't effectively use it anymore. And if it's not evident enough, the backyard to the castle is going to take some hits from TNT from time to time. So I think by the end of this, you're going to see some of the trees that I have from my tree collection in the backyard have gotten blown up, and some of the dirt blocks for the backyard. But that's fine. That can all be fixed. What I'm more concerned with is how long it's going to take me to flatten all of this out so we can get this lake going. But I kind of wanted to switch between the Amsterdam portion of this and then the lake portion of this, just so there's progress on both fronts and it doesn't really get stale for me. Okay, so jumping ahead a bit, you're going to see some bloopers from me where I get myself blown up on accident. But while you watch these, I just kind of want to give the outro to this video. So if you've watched, the first episode of this episode or any episodes, I want to thank you immensely. I think this series will get more notoriety as we make a lot of progress with certain builds that grab people's attention. Right now, we're kind of in the beginning stages, but that's why I really wanted to do this series, because we finished the castle finally, and I'm still trying to come up with a name. But yeah, I've been really enjoying making these and recording the gameplay for these. And I'm going to do some more Reddit stories too, just while I do the more tedious work around building Calopolis, so it doesn't really take up too much gameplay. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you for watching.